rights, justice, and rights. So I'm just going to go through, just briefly with you. I'm going to try not to turn your ears into hamburger, try not to put you to sleep, but I want to just give you a sense of why these principles work. Because once you present the principles just in themselves, and you don't talk about pro-life issues, you don't talk about slavery issues, you don't talk about anything, you just talk about the principles, and then you say, okay, now let's apply them to the pro-life issue and to the slavery issue, etc. Boy, does it open up eyes. For the first time, these students know there are some viewpoints that really undercut these 10 civilizing principles, these 10 principles that guarantee harmony or some form of harmony and peace within the society, rather than the principles that would undermine the society. So let's just take a look at quickly, what are the 3 principles that we use for truth? Well, objective evidence. That's always a good principle. We ought to have evidence that everybody in this room can pretty much affirm. That's our ground, that's what we need. And if we do have such evidence, and everybody affirms that, yeah, that's the case, and this really undergirds one truth rather than another truth, then we should acknowledge the one that is undergirded by this truth. We should acknowledge it. This is truth, the other one is not. So, for example, in the pro-life movement today, I mean, there's just no question. I mean, today you can see that we have a positive proof, a scientifically demonstrated proof, that the human genome is complete, it's unique, it's uniquely human, and at the moment of the single-celled zygote, whether it's attached or it's unattached, it makes no difference. That is a complete human genome of the physical embodiment and the physical characteristics of a person. Nothing's going to be added. Number 2, the human zygote itself, that one single cell, is going to be the origin and the unity of every single cell in our bodies throughout the rest of our lives. Nothing is going to be added. It is an indisputable fact, on the basis of objective scientific evidence. It is indisputable that single-celled zygote is a substantially whole human being. Nothing will be added to it that would change its substantial humanity throughout the course of its existence. Yes, it will undergo cell divisions, but it will be cell divisions that are based on the zygote and based on the genetic code that tells how those cell divisions are to occur. All of the things that are added are mere accidental changes. They're just the playing out of the development that has already been programmed into this human zygote. So you look at this for just a moment, and who is going to, there's not a reputable, today, there's a very excellent series of studies that have been done in professional biologists. In the study of 9,800 professional biologists internationally, 96% said, indisputably, the beginning of a new, unique human life, substantially whole human life, is fertilization/conception. That's not me, that's the biologists. It's no longer possible to deny the objective fact that the evidence points to. If our kids just see this for a second, they're going to say, well, wait a minute, maybe the truth is on their side. And that is a good thing when that is acknowledged, because it's just one little chink, one little thing to put up there for the kids to recognize. Secondly, we teach them the principle of non-contradiction. And we tell them, like with respect, finally when we come down to it, we say, hey, what do you think about this proposition? That in about 78% of our case law in our country, the pre-born human being actually has rights of inheritance, rights of protection under the law, rights to sue when they are injured, etc., etc. What do you think about that? And then, on the other hand, we have the Supreme Court saying, before it was reversed in Dobbs, in Roe versus Wade, we have the Supreme Court saying that there's no evidence or case law that should indicate that the human being, a preborn human being, has the right to life. And they go, is that a contradiction? Do you think? I mean, I mean, it's ludicrous that, people get away with it. And the kids go, well, how come nobody challenges it? I said, there's tons of us challenging it, but you need to challenge it. You need to challenge it with your vote. You need to challenge it when you talk to other people. Contradictions are bad things. They get that. And of course, contradictions mean something is awry, something far from the truth. Let's take the third principle that we talk about. This is, again, the relativity of truth, how to defeat it. The most complete explanation wins. The hypothesis, the theory which explains the most facts, is better than one that explains less facts. And so, of course, we can see that the pro-life position, for sure, explains all of the scientific facts about the human genome, about the human zygote, about the development of the human fetus. We can see it again and again and again and again, that the one explanation that explains everything. And by the way, there's a wonderful thing you can get off the Supreme Court website for the Dobbs decision. There's a breakdown of the United States biologists where they say, well, what would you prefer to fertilization, conception? And then it goes through and it says, well, how about the first heartbeat? Well, the first heartbeat might be a good thing, but it's absolutely a relative thing. It doesn't get us to an objective stance. It doesn't explain the humanity, the substantial wholeness of the humanity of the zygote prior to that first heartbeat. It's radically incomplete. And other people will say, it's something else, etc. But if we can just take these principles, which we do in our high school and college curricula, which we present to them and just show them, the pro-life position is not just a more logical one, it's a more complete explanation. It's one based on much better objective evidence. And at the end of the day, it is not flawed by contradictions within the logic. And so that's a good deal. And kids are starting to get it. They start to get it.